this. You know, you make us look bad with the number of videos you do on YouTube, and you talk straight to camera. And I was watching some of them, and one of them really hit me. And it was one that you said, you talked about how to make money. And you said a few things like right away, and that really hit me. And I think people would be interested. And the first thing you said was, no one cares if you make money.
Yeah.
And then you went on to say, to stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about others, which is probably the advice that people would least likely expect when it comes to how to make money. And I was wondering, for people that don't know you, if you could just summarize what you were talking about in that video, because it was good.
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, sometimes I make videos and I myself like forget. So
like
I'll
said.
try to remember, but usually, because when I do them, it's usually in the spur of the moment, I'm in the flow. I'm like, you know, I just want to talk about this.
Okay.
And I think what happened was, so many people, you know, on my channel, or they'll message me, they'll ask me a lot of times, like, Alex, you know, I want to make money. I'm young, I'm starting out. How do I do it? And just in my own experience, what I found out, because I come from, you know, a poor background, I didn't have money. I grew up wanting to make money. So I always ask that question myself, like, so how do I make money? How can I make money? And when I look back now and I'm in this really great financial position, I'm like, okay, how did I do that? So in that video, I kind of thought, and you know what? When I started making money is when I stopped thinking about myself, and I started thinking, okay, how can I deliver value to this world? What can I do for other people? Because no one's gonna, like I said in that video, no one cares about you trying to make money.
Right.
Right?
No one cares about your selfish interests.
Yeah,
right?
but when you're thinking, okay, how do I make money? You're thinking of yourself. You're thinking, how do I make money? But that's not a really good question to ask, because a really good question to ask is, how do I make money? Well, you make money by, people will give you money if you give them some sort of value. And the way I see really money, like the currency, I see it as like the bill itself, is like, it's a transfer of value. Right? So that's how I really see it. So if I deliver value to other people in some way, I will make money. So the way I see it is, the people who make the most money are the people who deliver the most value into this world. And some people say, well, you know, there's some people that, you know, do bad stuff and they're still making money. Well, they're still delivering value to this world. So if you're ruining the rainforest and whatever, you're still giving value, let's say, to IKEA, who's using those trees and or the resources or whatever it may be, right? So someone's going to get value from that, and that's how they're making money.
And you mentioned like Apple, for example, and you were saying how the reason that they're so valuable is because they go out of their way to predict all of your issues and to deliver you this wonderful GUI device where all of your problems are figured out before you even think of them, right? You could say Google does the same thing.
Yeah, I think I think really, if you just study, like, and that's what I love to do. I love to study success, right? And if you look at anybody who's doing well, you will see them really trying to deliver value as much as possible to their customers. So you just like you mentioned Apple, right? Apple is always trying to think of, you know, how can we really enhance the experience of the customer from opening the box to turning it on to it just being there and being beautiful, right? But they're looking at the whole experience, and they're not thinking, how do we make more money and maximize? They're thinking, how can we make this experience better? So even in our own business, or in any business I'm involved in, I always try to think of, how can we make this better for the customer, the experience, right? And not, how can we make more money?
Right. Yeah, I'm listening to this book called In the Plex, which is like all the creation of Google, and it's fascinating to listen to. But in the beginning, like, that's what they wanted. They're like, we're going to do a better search, and it's got to be better and better and better, and we don't care about making the money or doing anything else. We just want to provide people the best search. If they leave the platform, we don't care. Yeah. And it was like, that's what spurned the billions and billions after that. And it's interesting to think. I mean, I guess you didn't always think that way.
No, like I said, starting out, I'm like, I want to make money. Like, you know, like, I need it. How do I get a hold of it? And it was very kind of money driven. But then when you really, and it's a mindset thing, when you really change your mindset in terms of, how can I deliver value to people? How can I help people? And that's what I see now. I tell anybody now that that's your focus. Switch your focus into that. And that's when magic happens. As soon, like, that's, you were talking quickly before we started this interview about that book, Give and Take, and givers and takers. Well, you know, I like to give. I think if you give a lot of value, and that's how we built our business entirely, that's how you get. You get by giving, and it's pretty crazy.
So counterintuitive. This week on London Real, former MI5 intelligence officer turned whistleblower, Annie Machon.
What we're looking at now is a de facto police state. You know, all the laws are in place, they're just not being applied to most citizens yet. I think it's not a case of having anything to hide, it's having a case that I have a right to privacy, and I can't guarantee my government will uphold that right, therefore I need to take the steps to do it.
She talks NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden.
He would die for his country. He wants to try and improve the way his country operates within its own boundaries and protect its citizens. And we seem to forget and think that human rights are a luxury. They're not, they're fundamental, and privacy is one of them.
On Sunday, London Real presents Annie Machon, whistleblower.
So it's a very British mess, is the short answer.